Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and on this evening, it's me and two of the guys, and the original duo that would be Cameron Riley and Damon Williams. How are you all, gentlemen?
Feeling pretty good. It's beautiful out here. Uh, it could always be a little less windy, but
Hmm.
feeling pretty good.
Did you go out and
Yeah,
play today?
I did. I played in the government. I was at City Hall today.
That's not playing, is it?
I did a brief skip along the marble floor. I just wanted to hear the.
Right. And then did you do a ski along the highly polished floors?
I was specifically told no power sliding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You leave that to the mayor.
right.
And Damon, how about you? This seems like a day made for you. Were you able to go outside and play?
no, I have not been away from home and since Sunday. I went out, took the dogs for a walk yesterday. Today was one of those days. I was up last night, so I record the NBA, and
Mhm.
when I catch up on it on DVR or whatever. So I went on a marathon. I watched 3 games last night. So
So you binge.
yeah, and I mean into like it was about 5:30 a.m. In fact, I'm in hot water because I overslept the garbage guys today, and
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
so now I'm about to go put trash bags in my trunk and go up to
And
7-Eleven.
and toss them in the do
So if
that
y'all
three
hear about me,
pointer, the
yeah,
three
y'all hear
pointer from the car.
exactly. But yeah, it's beautiful though. It was sunny and we're almost in the home stretch of the crazy weather in Chicago.
Almost there.
You never know, but still,
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but people on the East Coast thought that they were almost through it, and then this morning it was craziness on the East Coast as far I think it was as far south as Washington D.C. It may have gone a little further south, but half a foot of snow in some places, a few inches here and a few inches there, power outages and everything. Um,
no,
Dallas Fort Worth was, I think when I was out today, was about 65 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in the sky, and it was
Beautiful.
really, as they call it, Chamber of Commerce weather. And just I mean, because we know that in 6 months, Cameron, it's going to be triple digits for weeks at a time.
Hmm.
And so, but it really, and everybody was out today. A lot of folks, I guess, doing their Valentine's Day shopping, but it was interesting. It was a very, very nice day, and dealing with people. And I'm telling you, people talk about traffic in Los Angeles. Chicago has always been difficult, and Atlanta, but Dallas is becoming one of those cities where there is no such thing as rush hour. It's rush hours, and there's very little time in which you can actually get someplace within 30 minutes without a slowdown, an accident, or something that is going to really disrupt your travel and make that ways really work for you that day.
I know some friends who like study traffic, who like study road rage, and I think that would be a just like a really interesting thing to talk about because traffic across the country is getting notoriously worse. It is
There,
not getting better.
there was a
So
movie about that, wasn't it? It was I forget. It was I can't remember the name of it, but it was about somebody just this man. I think it was Michael Douglas. Back in the day, he just spun
yeah,
out and had was it Damon? Do you remember?
yeah, it was.
And
he
he
just
just
he just freaked
he
out.
freaked out. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and I mean, like, it was deadly kind of freak out, you know?
Mm.
Yeah,
And I think we have more minor accidents with the cell phones, because everybody's
right.
distracted drivers. So that's the issue because the way that it's designed, there should never be traffic because it's
Mhm.
free flowing. But there's always traffic because of some between the merges and the accidents and the construction.
Yeah.
It's always jams.
Yep. It really is, and tell that to that somebody that's studying traffic because those things. And as a former traffic reporter, you can see these things from a position of perching in the major buildings in downtown Chicago, and you just want to tell people, like you said, get off your phones, and you can see people, looking at their phones or whatever, and people not being mindful of merging and what that used to look like. But I contend a lot of that has to do, guys, with the fact that people, young people especially, don't take driver's ed anymore.
Mm.
And they don't, and they don't, they may, take the whatever is needed, but you remember that old days when there was somebody who was really guiding you, just sitting there next to you and guiding you as you were learning to drive and make that 3-point turn and all of that, and merging and what that looks like. They just don't have that anymore.
And then the parents don't have the ability to have the space in their cars that we had, because they used to put us on their lap and let us drive when we were kids.
Yeah.
You could be like, "Ooh, for real? Thank you, Daddy." You can't do that now. But it's also the mobile workforce. People are not. There's no standard rush hour. It used to be a time in Chicago between 10 a.m. and about 2:30 or 3. You'd be free flowing. But now everybody's so mobile. Traffic is crazy. So we need some bigger car. We need to bring back the deuce and the quarter. So you can teach these kids when they're 6 years old, they can sit on your lap and drive to the liquor store for your daddy.
Were you in my childhood? Were you on Morgan Street when this was happening? Yeah,
we had the same childhood. Trust me.
For sure. It was a Rambler station wagon, and then it was a Coupe de Ville. Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Not the Coupe de Ville. All right.
Yeah. My daddy was fancy in the latter years. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mama had the wagon because then nobody want to flirt with a woman in the station wagon, and pops had the Coupe de Ville because he might want to see a little something. Yes, Dad.
Yeah. wearing the fireman's uniform and what have you. Yeah, that was that really got the ladies.
Oh God.
So
a Coupe de Ville in a fireman's outfit is like a right now UPS man in shorts.
Right. I was listening to our girl Sherry Shepherd today, and speaking of weather and what have you, and how we used to have shoe boots. Remember that, when you had your shoes and you had the boots on? And my dad, as a fireman, had to wear all of this gear, the fireman's boots and everything. But I do remember him coming home and saying, "Baby, I got my romance killers on." I was like, "What the?" And that meant long underwear that they would have to wear, in January, February.
Romance killers.
I hear him tell that to my mom. My mother's like, "Phew, okay, good." But it was, and
the crazy party was July, but she made him wear it. Where you going in them boxes?
Right. Go put that long underwear on.
Go get your romance killers.
Let's talk about some news here. And this is a part of our What You Need to Know newsletter discussion. The What You Need to Know newsletter is our effort to super serve and inform the African American community with the stories that we choose, that we see and we want to bring to the people and tell them in our own inimitable way. And we cover politics with Cameron Riley. We have social justice with Coy Malone. We have the LGBTQ plus column with Cameron's little sister, Quinn, and on mental health and wellness, that's April at Russell. And Cameron, I got to tell you, I think if we had a number 1 and number 2, 3, 4, 5 stories listed, you would have had number 1, because you touched a button with a lot of people just in my discussion with them today about the shopping app Temu.
I am just trying to save Black people's wallets. Okay.
Well, you had some upset Black women when you start talking about, jamming up our African lands with dumpsters and, dumping the bad and cheap clothing, as well as child labor laws and everything. They're like, "Oh God, really? Now what?"
I am not trying to ruin anyone's shopping experiences. I'm just trying to create informed consumers, Damon. And Temu advertised on the Super Bowl at least once every other segment, and those ad spots cost $7 million.
Yeah.
So this is a multi-billion-dollar company, multi-billion-dollar Chinese company that is predicated off of fast fashion. They create millions of products a day out of. There are some good deals on there. You can get a nice, solid product. Temu has already infiltrated my household because I'm going to Jamaica pretty soon. And so, they have a neon day at the resort. They have a white party day at the resort.
That's a good place to get all your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to pop out on the boat this season and they have a neon party, go and get your outfit from Temu. You will look fly. For that single day, you will definitely look fly. But do I want to get an 8-compartment toaster from Temu for $10?
Right.
I don't know.
Anything that comes without the underwriter's laboratory tag.
Exactly. And just like the law of logistics, especially in the global economy, is that the only way you can crank out something so fast for so cheap is if you sacrifice like materials, and if you sacrifice ethical labor practices. For instance, Temu has a C+ rating on the Better Business Bureau, and we love the Better Business Bureau. Okay, not to mention they've been taken to court for just mismanaging people's data. There have been reports where after people have taken advantage of those promotions on Temu, they get spam with crank calls like the very next day. And fast fashion is just not sustainable for the environment. I don't know if any of you all have seen these photos of just giant landfills of secondhand clothes in Africa.
Right.
This is where all of this garbage goes.
Yeah.
It's where this all goes, and that's just the reality. So should you shop on Temu? If you really need that one outfit for that party, do it. Right? Do it.
And Damon, this, if you do it on something like a cruise or whatever, or going to a site in the Caribbean, that's also a good place for people. I think is when we went to Haiti, and this was after the earthquake, and we took our stuff, but we left it with the people there in Haiti. And so that's also an opportunity for you to leave some of those things with your cabin people or with your stewards and what have you, or the housekeeping staff, because it's kind of, you're recycling it, if you will, before it hits the African land mines, or landfills rather. So
it's tricky, because you want to be fashionable, and I blame social media, because it used to be a time where you could have a favorite shirt. Like as a comedian, I used to have, when I did the Kings of Comedy, I got 4 suits made for 30 shows because I didn't have to post my suits.
Right.
Now, if I wear a shirt, it's over here, and he wore it again, it's over there again. So, you know what I mean? So I couldn't have got away with that. But the cheap clothing for the quick pop art, like you said on the boat, that's the move. But those clothes will also end up next to those 49er Super Bowl t-shirts that
championship
t-shirt. Like that's why every country has every opponent that ever played the Bulls championship t-shirts when Michael Jordan was playing. It's got to be some 92 Pistons champion shirts and some 96 Seattle Seahawks champion shirts. But to be honest, man, sustainability has been damaged by social media because you can't wear your clothes a lot. It's just different.
That's right. It's a different day. And even though social media is allowing us to have contact with companies like this, it's a double-edged sword there. Before Tamar there was Wish. Remember when that was, and before that eBay, and with eBay, at least you're able to say, okay, here's where I want to buy my stuff from, so that I don't get caught up in the whole Chinese, trying to call somebody. We only accept phone calls in order to further your return, and all that kind of nonsense. And what really got people, Khameron, was the child labor that are used to produce these products.
Yeah, I mean, like
But we do
there
it with
is
our cell phones. Come on, you're going to tell me that child labor is going to keep you from paying $1,000 for an Apple phone?
right that probably only costs Tim Cook what, $20.
Right, right.
Yeah, so
I think the problem is the children doing the labor need to be here because these kids ain't doing nothing anyway. Let's get these labor laws cracked around here.
Come
They'd be
on.
doing less crimes and less downtown takeovers if their ass was in an Apple factory somewhere.
I mean, he's not wrong. Okay.
No,
I
definitely.
mean, I don't mean 6-year-olds, but once you get around 12, 13, come on, man, you got to kick in, help around the
Hit the
house.
mines,
That's
buddy.
right. That's right. That's right.
Hit the mines.
You know what time it
You're
is,
young.
son.
Your lungs can take a little cold. Get out in the hole.
Right. Yeah, I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum or anything like that. I just want to make sure that we're all aware that, I mean, and one of the good things about Temu is that they're giving people goods at rates so cheap that retailers in the US are like really worried that they're going to have to drive prices down in order to stop people from shopping on Temu. So
Right.
Giving some market competition to like Macy's and Target, sure, I'm all for it. But
especially when you see these places that are closing up. I mean, malls are I don't know about where you guys are, but in this area, malls have become ghost towns in a lot of respects. And putting a lot of people, kids looking for those summertime jobs and putting them out of work and opportunities.
Well, what happens is, the brick and mortar is being replaced by the shipping. And so everywhere I look, they're building new logistical plants where they can do the shipping for the Amazon and things of that nature. So the jobs will still exist in a sense. You just don't have to fold clothes and be nice to people.
That's really hard for kids these days, actually. Yeah, that's actually really hard.
Not be nice to them, not have a personality. Like,
yeah, but at least this gives the ugly people a chance because the stores only hire attractive salespeople. You know that for a fact. So now it's equal rights for employment. So we're gonna get these kids and these ugly people jobs thanks to Temu and Shein and Fashion Nova and Amazon.
Right, that's right. Right. Don't forget Wish.
And Wish. See, that's the Lord, because I spilled my beverage.
And I bet you Tamer could have a beverage for you in about 15 seconds. No problem. No problem. So good job, Khameron, in really touching and eliciting a lot of emotion from people with that story. I did something really boring but necessary and talked about the current special election that is going on today. Special election in New York's 3rd Congressional District. This is the seat is now open that was formerly held by George Santos. George Santos was indicted and expelled from that position. And the people that are running it's a very interesting race, and especially the young woman that is running as a Republican, who's not really a Republican. She she is a registered Democrat, but she's running as a Republican. She is an Ethiopian Jew, born and raised in Ethiopia, moved with her family to Israel, where she was a part of the Israeli army. You know how they are required to train and to serve. And now she is a married mother of 7 in New York. And she's running against a white Catholic guy, Swozy, who was the congressman for that district. He gave it up to run for governor, obviously lost, governor of New York. And so now he wants his old job back. And it is not only going to show the way that things are in the House, because the Republicans have such a very small lead, slim lead over the Democrats, but it's also, they think that it's going to give a further down the road view of how the presidential election is going to end up. So it's kind of a purple situation right now, blue and red together, and how this all turns out. So take a look at that, and it was fascinating to me.
It was fascinating when I read it because it's tricky because the Republicans, conservative, she's a Republican conservative, mother of 7, Ethiopian Jew,
Right,
black woman with 7 kids.
right. Who don't
So,
look anything like her.
which is crazy. First of all, how do you have time for a job? And we know you need it with 7 kids,
Right.
but those are the she's punching a lot of boxes. So the indicator is not going to be concise because the Republicans' heads are spinning when they think about it. We need our seat, but we don't want her because she's black. But then we don't want her because she's Jewish. Then we don't want her because she has children. You know, that's a lot. That is a lot. Is she married?
And she's married. And
Uh-huh.
there's a whole abortion question. She goes, because I don't believe in abortion, but I don't want to impose
Clearly,
my views upon you. Well, that's what your new party has been doing all along. So it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's
so
really
she's a pro-life black conservative Ethiopian mother of 7 conservative Jewish woman in New York that grew up in Ethiopia but moved to Israel and lives in New York. That's a lot.
that's a lot to put on a business card too, isn't it? Not to
Yeah.
mention your resume.
Not to
So
mention her first name is Masi, is it?
Masi, yep, Masi,
Yeah.
Mm.
yep.
And one slip of the keyboard and
Come
that
on.
N.
Come on.
Now she's Nazi.
Now she's really a Republican.
Right.
So
Ooh, Sybil.
let's move to what's really going on our question of the day.
Bars.
Today is the day before, as you're watching this and as we are recording this, it is the day before Valentine's Day. So just to get people involved and asking those that are watching and listening, as well as you two gentlemen, and it was a trip down memory lane for me. What is a romantic gesture that you initiated or one with which you were gifted that you'd like to revisit? So in your past, was there one time in which your partner said, "Leave it to me, I got this"? And what was that gesture for Valentine's for you? Well, we know what happens for birthdays and Christmas and other big days, and maybe that's for Valentine's Day too. But what was that gesture? You're like, man, that was a great idea. I'm going to try that this time with girl du jour for Cameron or for Juanita.
Sure. Very nice. Okay, I'll take that.
Did you say girl du jour? You know, Johnny Q has a song called Lady du jour.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So think about that, and we'd also like the folks that are watching and listening to participate in that romantic gesture. I'll tell you, I had to go back a ways, and this is at a certain time in your life when you can do this. I was dating a guy, and he said, "Don't pack anything, and don't ask any questions. Just trust me. You know where we are going to go." And for a weekend away. I'll tell you, you don't like cold weather, so we're going to go to a sunny climate, and I got you. So that was a really great time in my life when I could do that. Now, there's the control factor, there's all the other things. Do I take my medication with me? What about my vitamins and stuff like that? All these other things. But at the time, it was a very romantic time and visit and a trip that in which he took control. And it also depends upon your partner, what his means are or her means are to afford you this opportunity to have a really nice time.
Sybil, I'm gonna
Yes,
tell
sir.
you this once and once only. At this point in life, if somebody tells you don't pack, just go. Don't worry about none of that. All you need to do is bring your scrunchie,
Always have
bring your scrunchie and your medication, and go. Life is short. Live your life.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll go first because it's a very recent memory.
Oh,
My birthday just took place, and my wife said, "Don't worry about anything. Just be ready." And we went. and it was, this winter, Chicago, January 9th. So we couldn't be going too many places. Now, the crazy thing was she had made a reservation at the Sybris. And people in Chicago and in Indianapolis and other places know Sybris is a romantic retreat. So it's a staycation spot. But the funny thing is, when we got there, she was surprising me, but I had to cancel my reservation because I was going to do the same thing.
At the same spot.
We were going to exactly the same spot. We were going there that day regardless. So great minds thought alike that day, but it really was lovely. She went out and got food and everything, and it was beautiful. So if I could duplicate that right now, I would be off this podcast right
now. And speaking of being off the podcast, let's wish Ahmed a happy anniversary. He and his bride are celebrating 9 years today.
Oh, wow. That's tricky though. So he still got to do Valentine tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. and
there's no doing.
And knowing that, it's probably like, this is good for today and tomorrow, right?
Well, if you get late checkout, you can use the same room.
Khameron?
I have. There is a romantic moment that I would like to visit, and then I can tell you a story about one that I would not like to.
Okay.
It's a pretty good story. It was just one of those like very intentional listening moments. My girlfriend at the time was like, "Hey, what's something that you've always wanted to do that you probably can never do?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would probably never purchase my own tickets to see Hamilton." And like, I wouldn't mind watching it. I just didn't want to spend, $300 plus
money.
Yeah, I just didn't want to spend Hamilton money. My birthday rolls around, and she was like, "Hey, is your afternoon clear?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Well, you should probably go to the Cadillac Theater." And I was like, "All right, bet." And we got really great seats too. It was an amazing show. Yeah. Hamilton, Chicago cast, incredible cast. And my thoughts on Hamilton later. But in high school, I was dating a young lady who was like a track star. Everybody wanted this young lady. I did not know that she had allegiances to another gentleman who was also on the track team. So on Valentine's Day, she gifts me like a stuffed bear, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is a little sus." Turns out that this was a gift that she received from her other guy that she did not want.
Oh, wow.
And the only way I figured this out is because I'm like lugging it down the hallway, and he was like, he pulled me aside and he was like, "Yeah, bro, we need to have a conversation about you and I and this bear." And I was like, "No." He was like, "Yeah."
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, and
how mature of you guys, though, because it's like, hormones and emotions and all that kind of stuff raging, and it could have come to fisticuffs.
It definitely could have. And at that time, I was not the strapping picture of health that you see before you. So there wasn't really much that I could do. But yeah, he was just
Here's your bear back, sir.
But that's man law. It's bros before those.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, you like that one? Yeah. But the only thing could make this story better, Cam, is if it was in a scene from Ted and the bear could talk.
And he had already encrypted messages to her and goes, "You don't believe me? Push the button."
Boy, the things that TED talk would have been very interesting.
That is funny. That's funny. Yolanda, we have comments. Aubrey W. on YouTube says, "A great gift I received on Valentine's Day was a pint of Jack Daniels and a nice little bottle of Crown. I was in love."
With Jack or the Crown?
Jack
or
and
the
Crown,
gifter?
right?
Wow.
I guess
okay.
The two of them. What a combo platter. Okay. Janet Ferguson on Facebook, "My romantic gesture was, I got this. I moved." "I moved out and never went back. Best romantic gesture I ever made." Janet.
Indeed.
That's
Indeed.
like Oh my God, that sounds like something my mother would say. Okay.
But not something you'll see on a Hallmark card.
No, no, no. Not nor in one of my favorite Hallmark movies. No, sorry, that's not gonna. I don't know what you would call that. What would be the title of that story? Thank you, Janet. I hope that your Valentine's days and the romantic gestures have gotten better. I really do. I wish that for you. Um, that is. Have you ever had a breakup on a holiday of love, like a birthday gathering or Valentine's Day or Sweetest Day? You've had
I,
those, Cameron?
I have facilitated some. I just
You
have really bad timing.
facilitated.
I just have really bad timing with these things. I don't know, for some reason or another, my feelings don't really. Now I have learned a lot, and I
Okay.
was like, you know what? Let me hold that until like some off, week of little
Hmm.
consequence, like Casimir Pulaski Day. Let me just hold that. But back then, if it was on my mind, I would just say it, and then she would say on my birthday, and I was like, damn, it is your birthday today.
I knew we were getting together for some reason, and yeah.
Yeah, you got to learn the definition of off peak.
Because there are days like between Thanksgiving and Christmas that is a designated day in which people are known to break up so that they don't have to go through Christmas with a buying a gift or being with their family or whatever it is for the holiday and New Year's and all the pressure that goes with that. And so there are days, and Cameron should make note of those days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was from a school that thought that you stick it out through those days till
Mhm.
around right around February 1st. Then you're in the clear because you ain't trying to do this if you ain't trying to do that. But
Right,
Christmas,
right.
you don't want to ruin
Right.
anybody's Christmas, the Thanksgiving, the New
Right.
Year's Eve. Yeah,
That's very
it is.
thoughtful, Damon. Very thoughtful.
Yes. I had some tricky breakups. I broke up with this one girl and she sent a singing telegram to my job. And it was a big giant cow that came. It was a cow that came and it came into my desk and started singing, "Come on, let's get happy. Sorry about the trouble between us." I swear to God.
Wow.
And then this lady had no shot and then gave me a cassette tape with all these love songs on it, trying to get back together. And I'm like, nope. But it was really, really interesting for me to be in that office, especially as I was the only male in my office,
Right,
for a
right.
singing telegram to come in with flowers and sing this "Let's Get Back Together, I'm Sorry" song. I'll never forget that. Vanessa Roberts, if you're out there, it was a great gesture, but I hope you're doing well. And if anybody knows Vanessa Roberts from Carver High School, tell her I told this story, and I want to make sure she's still okay.
And how are those gestures today? I'm wondering.
She was amazing, but sorry,
Yeah.
it was one of those times when I was very skeptical and guarded about anything. So it was anything I saw a chink in the armor. Sorry, gotta go.
Gwen Turner on YouTube. My romantic gesture was when my husband surprised me with tickets to the Victory Tour. Nice, nice.
Yes.
That's very nice. Yeah, yeah. So nothing like the Jacksons. Very good. So those are our thoughts on St. Valentine's Day. St. Patrick's Day is just a little green beer, and you can have your way. But it's good to hear, just kind of reminisce a little bit. Damon has really great romantic stories, and not so romantic, and willing to share. And
Yeah, we don't want to talk about my AP sectional that got
that's what I
reproduced.
was thinking about.
By the time join the listeners, y'all already know that story.
But a good story nonetheless. Nonetheless.
Yes.
So I hope you guys have a wonderful Valentine's Day and that love is good to you. So let us move to trending. And Damon, first of all, let's talk about where you are, where you're going, what you're doing, where your comedy genius will be seen and heard.
This Friday, we have our second installment of the Damon Williams and Friends at Ameristar Casino, which is going to be a recurring event. And the first one was so amazing because, of course, it was free to get in, so it was super packed. But people have been buying up tickets for this one. And I have George Wilborn coming home to
Oh,
headline. Yeah, Jay Deep will be on the show, and I'm trying to find which young lady I want to be a part of it, and I can't wait for that. But while I'm there, TK Kirkland will be at Riddle starting Thursday through Saturday, and his shows always sell out, and he's hilarious. So I'm gonna do the Casino Friday first show, and then I'm gonna run over to Riddle's and catch TK show and host that. And then I'm off to the Super Cruise, Capital Jazz Super Cruise with
Cool.
Music Soul Child and Gerald Albright, El DeBarge, Eric Roberson and Mike Phillips are the host with myself. It's a bunch of people. It's gonna be fun. So finally, that's why I don't have to really go all out for Valentine's, because
Right.
about to do the cruise thing.
That's nice.
Cool.
Very nice. So we will.
God is good.
Amen,
Yeah.
brother. Amen. This news has just come across, and the Republicans succeeded in their effort. They voted to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, and it was that close. They failed last week. They didn't have all the votes. and as I said in the story last week, everyone knows from congressional interns on up that you don't bring a vote to the floor if you don't have the votes, right?
Right.
You don't bring the topic and say, well, we're gonna hold off on it. They didn't have the votes. This is how young and not very seasoned House Speaker is, and so they lost that last week, and to the point where one of their congressional leaders is from Louisiana, and he has been suffering from cancer, and so he was going through bone marrow transplants and procedures, and so he was unable to come and give his vote and cast his vote. But the brother, Congressman from Texas, Al Green, and yes,
Okay, yeah.
he got out of his hospital bed in his hospital garb, and I believe they sent a car for him, and he rolled into the House on the floor and cast his vote against the impeachment. Did not work this time. By one vote, 214 to 213, they have voted to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. This is the guy who is over all of the border and the craziness that's going on the U.S.-Mexican border. So, but as we know, people can be impeached in the House and not work in the Senate. And so, but he won't be kicked out of his job. It'll go on his permanent record for whatever
Right.
that looks like, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think, Khameron?
I mean, the overall value of impeachment just means absolutely nothing now, and that's what Republicans sought to do. They've been tit for tat with the Biden administration on absolutely everything. I mean, there's classified documents in Mar-a-Lago, classified documents in Biden's garage. Trump got impeached twice. We're gonna impeach Mayorkas, and we're gonna investigate Joe Biden's. I mean, it's just very adversarial nonsense, which really wastes a lot of the taxpayers' time. It really wastes a lot of the American people's time, because really nothing is getting done on this last leg of the Biden administration. Likewise, there are some Republican Congress people that agree that just because you disagree with Mayorkas's handling of the border does not mean that he committed a crime.
Right.
You impeach someone who committed a crime, not because they haven't been doing their job.
Right.
So,
and unlike your president, and when he was impeached a couple of years ago for crimes, as
right.
you say,
who is actually a criminal.
Yeah. He's got the receipts for sure. Damon, do you think this will go anywhere?
Like Cameron said, the impeachment really hasn't mattered since Nixon, because even the Clinton impeachment, it was just to shame and embarrass him. It was a hoax with Trump, and so the guy's going to finish out his term. He's going to do his job. It won't get my toothpaste back from the airport I just left. I meant to, I drove on my previous trip, and I had my backpack, and I forgot that I had a brand new, fresh, full-size Aquafresh toothpaste that the Homeland Security people deemed as a threat to our flight, and they took it. But other than that, no, nothing will be accomplished by this impeachment. You hate to have to go to the front desk at the hotel and get that little squeezy pack of Colgate that only covers half a toothbrush when you had your full-size family size.
Trust me when I tell you, women everywhere understand your pain.
Yeah.
Winter Storm Lorraine was a quick moving storm that dumped snow from Colorado to New Mexico to New England and surprised a lot of folks along the way. I don't know if you all woke up this morning to hear the news about the nor'easter that has now captured the East Coast. Lorraine was a surprise from Oklahoma to the Northeast, and it started with a hit across Oklahoma. Temperatures were in the 40s and 50s, and little to no snow was expected just days before the first flakes, and over 8 inches of snow fell in southwestern Oklahoma.
Whoa.
And heavy snow fell in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Warmer ground temps kept a lot of that snow from sticking, and it melted rather quickly. And Monday, as I mentioned, through the mid South with snow falling in the Ozarks and the Ohio Valley. There were pockets of 4 to 6 inches of snow that fell in southwestern Missouri. Nashville, Tennessee saw some thunder snow. Thunder snow. I heard that in a while. I remember when I was a little girl, we had that in Chicago at one time, and it was like over spring break. And it was, you go to bed and you hear all of this thunder, and you wake up and there's like six inches of snow on the ground. It's like, where are they? I'd never heard of it until then.
Strange.
What really was. And then the rain arrived early in the mid-Atlantic, and that was changed over to the snow as it got further north of New York City. Cities and towns from Boston to New York closed schools or moved to online learning. Sherry Shepard said this morning that she heard that they were having remote learning, and she woke her son up and said, get up because you have remote learning today for school. And he's like, we're not having it. And he said, check your email, Ma. And sure enough, the teachers, the principals, all of those folks said, no, enjoy your snow day.
I'll just cancel school completely.
And as it turned out, they had enough technical difficulties that the remote learning day was just a bust for the more than 9 million students in the New York City public school district. The heaviest snow fell from southern New England into the tri-state and northeast Pennsylvania. And snow fell as far south as Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. At one point, snow was falling in most of the major cities, and notable totals include 15.7 inches in Hartford, Connecticut. Allentown, Pennsylvania got just over 9 inches, and Providence, Rhode Island got about 6 inches of snow. And power outages topped 150,000 customers from West Virginia to Massachusetts at one point. So our thoughts go out to those people. And just as the rain moved from California, talked to my family, and they're getting ready for more rainstorms on the West Coast as well. And Damon, be careful because a lot of people are concerned about the weather on the ships as people are getting ready to travel too. So please be careful.
Well, I hope the captains are aware of this. Because all I could do is show up.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That would be such a dirty trick, though, if you found out your school was closed, but then you had to do school from home. It's like, no. Because, and the crazy part is they used to close the school for snow day, and we just go right outside and play in the snow.
Right.
We'd be out, as soon as they said school was out, we're like, all right, we get out here and make a snowman and throw snowballs and all of that. I'm sure kids don't do that nowadays, but we used to play.
No, not at those schools.
And it took way more than 6 inches to keep us home back in the day.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it did. I'm
talking snow, Sybil.
I am too. When I was at Morgan Park Academy, David, we never had snow days. It didn't matter how much snow was on the ground. We never had snow days. I graduated, and then they started having snow days. It was like we graduated in June, and by that December, January, they're like, oh yeah, a snow day. And I was like, what? All these years, and so your son probably benefited from those, but
well, that's the administration understanding the fact that you all paying tuition, so they know they couldn't call school off.
Right.
Parents like, no, you going to school.
Oh, you going? You going today? My mother would say as Chicago public schools were closed. Yes. Khameron recently wrote about the end of the professional relationship between golf great Tiger Woods and Nike. And now Tiger has announced a new deal with TaylorMade a new apparel and footwear brand. He and TaylorMade are no strangers. Nike, of course, with the shoes and what have you, and golf equipment. And he has a deal with TaylorMade for golf clubs made with Bridgestone for balls, and now TaylorMade will provide both and then some with an apparel and footwear line. And he announced last night that he would expand his partnership with TaylorMade Golf to bring in his new lifestyle brand called Sunday Red to the world. And as we all know, and as you mentioned, Khameron, I believe in your story, that he was famous for his mother encouraging him on his first championship Sunday to wear red as his power color. And so we knew that he was on the move when he wore that red shirt, the red Nike shirt, on his way up the hill to capture another championship. But now his brand is called Sunday Red, and it looks pretty sweet. The only thing I don't like, I don't know if you have seen the caricature of it. I guess it's supposed to be a tiger, but it looks more to me like a dinosaur, and that's not the look you want with Tiger, right? I know he's 48 years old. He's had, his challenges and everything like that, but it
I want to look it up right now.
Yeah, I'm saying I really want to look this thing up.
Tiger, did you take a look at it? Because from my eyes,
this looks terrible.
It's not a good look. I can see where they're trying to do the tiger, but it really did look like a.
Send it back to marketing.
Yeah, yeah. Back to the drawing board, fellas. I
mean, it looks like the Jurassic Park logo.
Yes!
But the dude who drew it was on acid. Like it doesn't.
Exactly, because it's like dishes and dashes, and and it's like, no.
And these wouldn't even look like tiger stripes.
No. Nothing.
And he has to wear that hat. Yeah, no, Tiger.
Yeah, it's. I would have waited on that a little bit, Tiger. I would have said, let's ruminate on this a little bit.
Yeah, let the brands compete.
Yeah, let
entertain
the
some
ideas
offers.
breathe, and and then we can, and then have my kids say, no, pops, no, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Well, let's do the research on what they paid him to put that diner tiger on there. And then see what your opinion might be.
Yeah, I am curious if you got paid more than
Nike. You don't do nothing for free. You're right. So the money speaks. You're absolutely right. Get well wishes to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, who's expected to be released from Walter Reed Hospital today, ending his second stay since surgery to treat prostate cancer, and expected to resume his full panel of duties. The 70-year-old secretary has had ongoing health issues since undergoing surgery for prostate cancer in December. And of course, we know he spent an elongated period of time at the hospital in January and without telling anyone. Now everybody knows. Everybody all the way down. With the exception of maybe his wife. I'm not sure that she knows, but everybody in the government, they know. They know what's up. Yeah. So and they said it was an emergent bladder issue. I don't even play a doctor on the radio, so I don't know what that is. Did you take a look at that, Khameron?
I can only assume that it's just like fallouts from the surgical corrections that he had after like the prostate preventative surgery. I do want to just. I can give Uncle Lloyd a lot of crap for the whole thing, but when he was out when he was back in the few days that he was actually like back at his job, he was showing up with his cane, weight loss and all, making his speeches, still very proud and very dignified. So I do want to just applaud him for maintaining his public appearances.
Ever the soldier and ever the professional.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And ever against his will, because he didn't even want people to know he was in the hospital, much less have him seen, in a feeble manner. But, soldier on, brother, and blessings to him and his health. And we hope and wish him the best, seriously, even after the jokes.
Soldier on for real. I know we're on against time, Yolanda, but I really need to make this announcement for people who are planning to have food delivered to them for Valentine's Day tomorrow. Uber, Lyft, and other workers in the United States and the United Kingdom are planning a Valentine's Day strike. Thousands of
No.
drivers for ride-hailing services and food delivery riders in this country are planning to strike
Wow.
in disputes over pay and working conditions. And the workers
Working
said,
conditions in their cars?
well, they don't like the way they're treated. They don't like the amount of money that they're being paid for
Okay.
going out, and they're sick of working the 80 hours a week just to make ends meet.
That's fair.
Yeah. So 130,000 drivers represented by this app group. And they say that they are across the East Coast and Midwest. Its numbers plan to stop giving rides to and from all airports in 10 cities, including Chicago and Miami, for 2 hours on Wednesday. And if people are traveling for Valentine's Day, this is really
So
gonna
you mean
mess
to tell
up.
me tomorrow the roads are going to be crystal clear?
Maybe.
It's gonna be you're gonna see those cabs you thought that
Right,
disappeared.
that disappeared. Exactly. Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, fellas, now you're gonna have to get up and take her home yourself.
and get that to go yourself, right?
Right. And for all those little gold diggers who want to get that bread, and then leave. Now you got to stay and talk to Pop Pop. You will actually have a date and watch a movie.
Okay. That is for sure. Moving to entertainment, we have an RIP here. Henry Fambro, the last surviving original member of the Spinners, has died.
Yeah.
He was 85 years old. Did you see that, Damon?
Yeah, I did. Comedian Coco from Detroit had made a post about it.
I love her. I absolutely
Yeah, I
love
do
her.
too.
Mr. Fambro, known for his rich baritone that could easily be heard in their signature songs such as I'll Be Around, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love. He originally formed the Domingos, a group that would become the Spinners in 1954 with his suburban Detroit friends Billy Henderson, Purvis Jackson, oh, there's some old school names, C.P. Spencer, and James Edwards. They would make a number of personnel changes over the next 20 years before the group settled into what would be its classic and most successful five-man lineup with Mr. Fambro, Henderson, Jackson, Bobby Smith, and Felipe Wynn. Felipe. And don't forget that accent. Their first major hit was in 1970 with It's a Shame. And that was co-written and produced by Stevie Wonder.
Oh, did not know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And 2 years later came I'll Be Around, which went as high as number 3. And they also Could It Be I'm Falling in Love, which reached the top 5. One of a Kind, Love Affair Is, and that just missed the top 10 in 1973. So
I'm sure Rubber Band Man probably became a number 1 hit.
I was looking for that, Damon. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely.
a big hit for them.
That was a
And of
big
course, Sadie
Oh,
on the R&B charts. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sadie was to
yeah.
this day is probably their most still
Wow.
played song because every time Mother's Day roll around, they play
Right.
Sadie a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's move to our jewel. Being responsible is holding yourself accountable for your actions. Being responsible is holding yourself accountable for your actions. Let that be a warning as we get ready for Valentine's Day. Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate the conversation and the merriment. I hope you all both have wonderful Valentine's Days, and we'll see you again. Damon, we won't see you next week. You'll be
I try.
on the, okay.
You know me.
I know
I'll give it
you,
a try.
and that is
Yes.
the beauty of you. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
can.
Plus, she won't sell without the Wi-Fi package, so chances are I'll be on.
Okay, well, look forward
Very
to it. Thanks so much,
Right.
Cameron. Happy Valentine's Day, my friend Damon. Happy Valentine's Day to you and the lovely Missus, and happy Valentine's Day.
Much love to you on Valentine's and every day.
Indeed.
Thank
Yes.
you. I'm just gonna put my